Jamie is up first. Hi, Ted. If Bill Watts hadn't sold the UWF, but Vince came to you with the $1 Million Man gimmick, would you still have left? That's an interesting one.
No, say that again.
So you've told the story here before that you were in Japan and Bruce Pritchard contacted you and said Bill Watts has sold the UWF.
Yeah.
Don't go back to work for the Crockett's. We have an offer for you, right?
Right.
What if you get back from Japan, Bill Watts hasn't sold the UWF, but on the side, Bruce Pritchard is saying, "Hey, we've got a really great gimmick for you over here."
Yeah, I mean, once Bruce went to work for Vince, and again, I had realized, okay, pick up the paper and it says WW. Back then it was a WWF, sets indoor world attendance record, 93,000 people at the Pontiac Silverdome for WrestleMania 3, which, by the way, is a still standing record.
Yeah.
And I said, if I'm going to stay relative in wrestling, then I'm going to have to go to work for Vince McMahon. And so, if Bruce had come to me with that at that time, and I was still working for Bill, Bill and I always had a good relationship. I came and went, and I never had a problem. It's kind of like, there's a lot of people, including Jake. Jake hates Bill Watts, but what Jake would have to even admit to is that Bill Watts, maybe he should have paid us all more, but every wrestler can say that. I'm telling you.
Oh yeah.
When in the days of the territories, you were pretty much at the promoter's whim, Yeah, and I guess if you can complain a little bit louder, maybe you get it a little more, maybe you don't, or maybe that could end up getting you screwed even worse.
Yeah,
I don't know, but for me, to me, Bill Watts was one of the most gifted guys when it came to understanding the psychology of professional wrestling and what we do, and then building characters.
And Jake himself has admitted, nope, he does not like Bill Watts. But was Bill Watts good at booking wrestling? Yes, he was. There's no denying it. He knows wrestling inside and out. So you've got to give him credit for that. Now, this would have been a really interesting time for you to depart from Bill Watts if he hadn't sold to Crockett. Just for context, so JYD had left. Then Jake leaves. Then Jim Duggan leaves, and you were kind of like one of the last stalwarts that was remaining with the company. You don't think that would have hurt your relationship with Bill for you to say hey, I know everybody else is leaving for New York, and now so am I. Sorry.
I'll be honest with you. I don't think that by that time it would have made any difference. And really, what Bill did, Bill saw what was happening. Bill's a bright guy. And he would even tell you, he says, I did too little too late, because, he started trying to, he changed it. We went from being Mid-South Wrestling to the Universal Wrestling something,
Federation, yeah.
And so he was trying, and then he realized that Vince had already, and so basically it was over.
Man, Bill, what a fountain of knowledge he still is to this day. I know he's kind of a controversial figure in wrestling and to many people, but he's a guy I'd love to have a chat with. Just because there's not a lot of those territory promoters left out there. The old school territory. He might be the last one for all I know. And so, the stories that guy could tell and the questions you could ask him. I'd love to have the opportunity to chat with Bill at some point.
Well, and again, I would think even if you talk to Jake, Jake's issue with Bill was he didn't pay us.
That's it.
He didn't pay us what he should have been paying us. I would agree with Jake then. Yeah, he said we're not getting paid what we should, but where are we going to make any more money? Who
New
else are
York,
you going to go to work for that's not going to screw you?
New York was it. Even the Crockett's,
I mean,
Jake
huh?
has said, even the Crockett's, Jake was there before in 1982,
Yeah,
1981, 82, 83. And he said that the money wasn't good and he wasn't getting pushed the way he felt like he should have been. So it's like, his options were becoming pretty limited.
yeah, yeah, and that's it. That's just it. It was you're either going to play their game or here's don't let the door hit you in the butt, because that's just the way wrestling was. And you understood that, and just I would rather stay on top in a territory that's doing great business than to tell the promoter, well, you didn't pay me well enough, go screw yourself, and then have to go start over in another territory whose business might not be as good as the one you're in. I mean, because Bill Watts's territory was hot. I mean, he built it, and he built it good, and it was just unbelievable, the money that he was making. I mean, it damn sure made him a millionaire.
Even in the dying days, I was just watching some clips from the UWF in '86, so a year before Bill wound up selling to the Crockett's, and those crowds are crazy.
Yeah,
Like they are very, very into it. It looks like really full houses. So like business seemed good on the surface, but when you've got to start competing with Vince McMahon, and you take a guy like Jim Duggan, and now you've got to pay him big money to get him to stay around. Ted DiBiase, you got to pay him big money. Dr. Death, Sting, all these people start receiving big money, and it's like, oh boy, there's not the slice of pie that's left for Bill Watts is getting smaller and smaller.
yeah, yeah.
Well, I love this topic. We'll explore UWF and that period of your career more here moving forward.